The following was a live study session recorded and shared to help anyone who is studying for the Salesforce Admin certification. This was just 1 out of 10 recorded sessions, so make sure to check out the playlist, which I will link in the description. The structure of these videos follow the modules and lessons from my Salesforce Admin course, which I often reference in these study sessions. But these sessions should still be helpful regardless of whether you are taking that course or not. If you do want to check out my course, follow the link in the description and submit your email, and I will email you a discount code to the Comprehensive Salesforce Admin Certification Prep course. Anyone who enrolls gains access to the Salesforce Help Club Discord as well, where myself and others can chat directly with you about your exam prep. This session is about layouts and lightning record pages. This is Module 5 in my course. All right, today we are talking about layouts and lightning record pages. Hopefully you guys were able to work through some of those lessons. I'll share my screen here and we can talk through that. Gary, I know that you've done some admin stuff in the past. Were you familiar with page layouts and lightning record pages and the differences there, or was this kind of new for you as well?
Yeah, I had done some of that in the past. Adding creating a new field and adding a new field to the layout,
Yep.
removing things, stuff like that. So I was familiar with the wrench and, how to make it read only and all
Yep.
that type of stuff. So
Cool.
yeah, I will say though, it's funny having used Salesforce for multiple years. I never added an entire section before. That just kind of dawned on me. I was like, I've never had to do this before, but okay, this is cool. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah.
can be more dynamic. Emil, Francis, have you guys messed with either of these before?
No, not really. I was usually given just the regular user access.
Yep.
No admin.
Right. Were you aware that, as an end user, sometimes you might request, the admin to adjust things? Is that something that were you even aware that, those things could be moved around and changed?
Yeah, I kind of was aware, but the company I worked for, had a very complex process of approving things within Salesforce. They had
Yep.
an external Salesforce consultant,
Okay.
which would charge a lot of money for minor changes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ourselves didn't really make any changes to the layouts.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting because as an admin, you kind of have to. It's nice when there are users who know what to ask for, right? Know what's possible because as an admin, you can try to make things as efficient for them as possible. You can try to ask the right questions to dig it out, what they actually need and what would be helpful. But being able to have users who understand what can be updated so that, that's kind of a part of their framework of going about work and being able to request things is nice too. So it's good to have knowledgeable users at the end of the day too, to be able to partner with on this. But yeah, it's fun to be able to change things around to make sure that the user interface displays what is helpful and doesn't display what can get in the way, right? So let's go ahead and talk about page layouts, lightning record pages, compact layouts, search layouts, page layouts. I'll shoot this one your way, Emil. What can you edit with a page layout? Do you remember kind of those key items that you can adjust on a page layout?
Yeah, certainly you can edit fields. You can, place them in different sections within a page layout. You can add highlights. You can add buttons, action buttons. You can add related lists of pretty much any object.
Yep.
Within a page layout. You can also add details, which is also part of the regular, let's say, page layout for contact. You can basically shuffle things the way you like. And obviously for me, it was much easier to use the lightning page layouts, simply because it's easier to interact with the tool with the drag and drop features.
Yeah.
rather than the regular page layouts. And my understanding is that Salesforce is sort of getting away from the old technology that they had back in the day.
Yep.
But yeah, it would be good to actually learn why it is still in place and what are the things that you can't really do with the Lightning
Yeah.
page layouts.
Yeah. I'll table that and I'll give feedback on that after we talk about Lightning record pages. But knowing, I think it's a good thing that you highlight, being able to know why you would use one versus the other and why page layouts still exist in the first place if Lightning record pages can do most of the same thing. So we can get to that in a minute. Gary, I'll ask you this question. So when it comes to page layout assignments, what can they be assigned to? Do you remember?
Yeah, so certain types of users, right? So, and actually, I actually ran into that issue during one of the exercises where I made the changes, but I didn't make the change to a
The
layout that was
right,
assigned to the
yeah,
admin.
yeah,
Yeah. So I was like, oh, let me go back, and I had to make the changes quickly on another layout to see the updates and all that. So,
yep,
yeah.
right. So, and I'll add to that answer there. Let's go ahead and go to contact here and look at page layouts.
Sorry,
So
profiles is what I should
profiles,
have said.
yes,
Yeah,
right.
sorry.
So when we look at, so we have 4 page layouts that exist right now on contact. And if we look at page layout assignments to understand how these page layouts are assigned, we can see the different profiles, which is different technically than a user, right? That's what
Yes,
I was
right.
going to,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
corrected there. Because we're not deciding, okay, my user is seeing this record and Gary's user is seeing this other page layout. We're assigning based on profiles.
Hmm.
So I might have the system admin profile, but then we might have 10 marketing users as well,
Right.
and other standard users. So these page layouts are assigned based upon profile. And then the other, I want to make sure to call this out because we didn't talk about this, but the other way that you can assign a page layout is based upon record types.
Mm.
So this might be an unfamiliar topic, but record types are, how do I want to best explain this? They're they're a way that you can break out one object into multiple use cases, I think is one way to say it. So opportunity would be a good example. Let's go over to opportunity, which if you remember is it's a deal that we're working on. Okay, so if we go to record types, we don't have any yet, but we could think of a business offering multiple services.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking about different products, but different services. So I might have a, exterior fine, extra fine exteriors, like we were talking about in the course. They may have a power washing division, but they might also have a gutter cleaning division and a window cleaning division, right? So we could have different opportunity record types so that we can break out those records into different types of opportunities. So if I did that here, let's just go ahead and do that for kicks and giggles, and then we can see how we can change that for the page layouts. But we'll go to record types, click new. Again, we're on the opportunity object. And looks like I need to create a sales process first because it's an opportunity. So let's say power cleaning, power washing, I mean. Not talking about lifting weights. Power washing, and then these are the stages in that sales process. And then we'll create another one called window cleaning. Just do 2 really quick. And we'll have the same stages for now. And let's go back to opportunity. I think this is an important thing to know, so we're going to hang out on this for just a second. If I go to new record type, I can create a record type label. So let's do power washing sales process. We're going to assign that one. It's active. We want to make it available for all profiles. And next. And now I can assign the page layout that goes with this record type. I'm just going to choose this one for now, and then we'll create a second record type so you can see how this works. So with a record type, it allows us to assign different page layouts based upon the type of record that the user is creating or working with. So we just did power washing, so let's do window cleaning with this one. This is active as well. We're going to make this available to everyone as well. So since we made this available to every profile, now if I go to create a record, let's go to the sales app. Hopefully this is updating in the back end fast enough for me. But if we just go to account and we try to create a new opportunity here, we should see these 2 options before we can create the record. Okay, so this is different than like a type field. So we could, in theory, have a type pick list on opportunity and, show the different divisions there. But record type gives more functionality, and that's what I want to show here. So now I'm going to say, when I create this opportunity, this one is for power washing specifically, and then we can create that record together. So what this enables for you is now on page layout assignments, ask a question if I'm going too fast for you, if this isn't making sense. But now under page layout assignments, I should have well, no, we're on account. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this again. Okay, so you see for each profile, we have a master page layout assignment, but then we have one for each record type as well. So I could create a page layout for window cleaning opportunities that have different fields on the record because we need to know specific things about the window washing opportunity. Whereas with the power washing, we might have a different set of information that we need on the opportunity. So I can create 2 different page layouts and assign those to the same profile, but depending upon which type of record we're looking at, it's going to show the different set of fields and related lists and buttons that we chose for that page layout. So to answer the question here, what can we assign page layouts to? We can assign them to profiles and record types. Okay. And I think you'll need to know that for the exam. That's why I wanted to hang out on this for a second.
Okay.
The other thing that record types allow is when we look at a record type, let's click on power washing here. You can see that there's pick lists that we can edit for this record type. So we have lead source, delivery status, type. These are pick list fields that are on the opportunity, but we can edit the values of those pick lists so that only a certain set shows up for a certain record type. So it's kind of like a field dependency. If you remember how one field can make a set of pick list values different depending upon the value. Same thing with record type. We can set a list of values for a pick list based upon the record type. So that, again, if I'm on the power washing opportunity, I'll only have a certain set of type values that I could have. So if I click on this field, now I can change which values are available or not. I'm throwing a curveball at you guys. Hopefully this is making sense. But record types it's extending the functionality so that you can have different record types for the same object. Another one could be, you remember when we created the survey object, we could have customer satisfaction as a record type and employee satisfaction survey as a different record type. And so the thing that you want to think about on whether or not you need a record type is, should this be a pick list field or should it be a record type? Right? I could have a pick list of CSAT and ESAT on survey, or I could make those record types. I wouldn't have both.
And so those record types will still share the same layout, correct?
You can assign different layouts.
Different layouts. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Just trying to follow. I think for me, it's going to be like, I like the hands-on, right?
Yeah.
So I know we're kind of talking about the theory of it and kind of the high level, but I think I need to go in and kind of play with it for it to really stick.
Yep.
I think I can share one of the use cases we had with one of my previous clients.
Yeah.
With a case record type. So we obviously had the object case, and everyone in the customer care team would be able to create a case, but then within the case they would have different types, such as product complaints, for example, and service complaints, which would allow you to then navigate the relevant fields when you would need to fill out, let's say, the customer's complaint. So that was one of the use cases. So we had the case object that could be used both for product and service complaints.
Yeah. Gotcha. So it would be a totally different process on how you handle that case, probably.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And that's one thing. I'm glad you said that, Emil, because that's another thing that I should have highlighted here is record types allow you to have separate page layouts, right? So a different set of information can show, but it can also, you saw when I created this for the opportunity, it's a different path that you create for it as well. So if I look at an opportunity, I'm not sure if I created one here or not. No, I didn't. So let's go ahead and create one. Power washing deal. This isn't a good name, but I just want to create one really quick. Let's see, okay, stage. Okay, so if I open this up, you remember the path bar that we talked about? What is going on? Let's refresh this. Okay, so this path bar shows the different stages that I'm walking this record through. It's the life cycle of this opportunity. Yeah. When we're working a deal, we're going to start with prospecting. We're going to try to qualify them and move all the way to closing this deal out. For each record type, I can have a separate process, right? I can have a different path, a different set of stage values, which allows me to work the same object record of opportunity in different ways depending upon the record type. Right, so if it's a power washing deal, maybe I work this a little bit differently. I have a different set of values than I do for the window cleaning. So it allows you to have a different path and a different page layout.
Got it.
Maybe we'll talk about record types again in a later module, but right now just know, as we're talking about page layouts, that you can assign different layouts to different record types. And we'll get into more of the why would you do that versus a pick list later on. Okay, hopefully we're all able to move on here, not too confused. So let's get back to talking about page layouts and Lightning record pages. Now, when we talk about Lightning record pages, there's definitely a difference, right? You guys probably experienced that. Can anyone tell me what ways a Lightning record page is more dynamic than a page layout? There's multiple right answers here, so if you just want to throw out one.
Trying to figure out a way like Lightning pages, I guess like you can, I guess with the page layout versus Lightning web page, like you can add like, I don't know, it gives you more access to like, say for instance, if I added a new tab or a new button or something on a page using Lightning pages, then I don't know, like it gives you more access to more like information, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, you're
Yeah, more
right. I think the way
flexibility.
I'd paraphrase that would be it allows you to affect more than just the content, the details and
Correct.
content of the
Yes.
page, but it allows you to reorganize the page in a
Yes.
way that you want.
Yep.
And I think what you were getting at too is that you have other components that you
Yes.
can add to the page as well.
I couldn't
So
think of any of that.
that you were saying it in a different way.
Yeah.
But the word that I would remember here for Lightning record pages is components. It
Yes.
has these components, these kind of building blocks that you can add to the page and drag around and rearrange. So if we look at that together, let's go to edit page on an opportunity. We actually see what the user would see, which is nice because you don't really get that with the page layouts. You get more of like an abstracted version of what the page is. Here we actually see a preview of what the user would see. And we get to work with the Lightning components that make up the Lightning user experience. So these components here, we can drag onto the page. We can move them around to different spots. So we're affecting more than just the details, just the related list, just the buttons. We're truly affecting the page layout, which is, I don't want to confuse terms there, but we're changing the way that the page is made up and where components are. And we can add other components onto the page. Like chatter, that's not something I can change or update on a page layout.
Mm-hmm.
If we're using a technical term of page layout.
Right.
But I could pull it onto the Lightning record page as a component here. Same thing with flows. If we want a screen flow on opportunities,
Yep.
we can pull this over here and choose the flow that we want to use. So there's all of these things, and then the organization of the page, which is what you were talking about. There are tabs that we can rearrange, delete, add to, so that the user can navigate the page in a structured way that makes sense for that individual use case, right? So each company is going to use an opportunity or a case in a different way. There's going to be different information that's needed, different business processes. So you want to customize it to meet your specific business needs. Okay, that was a long-winded answer to this question. That was just one of the things though, right? We talked about components. We talked about rearranging the organization of the page, but there are other ways that a Lightning record page is more dynamic. Emo, I'll give you a shot at maybe answering another way that it's dynamic.
In what ways is a Lightning record page more dynamic than
Mhm.
page layouts? I think multiple tabs that you can create, tabs within tabs.
Yep.
You can swap elements, and this isn't really something easy that can be done within the regular page layouts.
I'll save you here, Emo.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking for is you can have dynamic fields,
Right. Okay.
and then you can have dynamic visibility, and then you can have dynamic actions as well. And this is kind of where Lightning record pages break apart from page layouts. So I'll answer this next question, and then we'll get back to what I was talking about. How do you use a record page and Lightning record page together? How do you use them hand in hand? Because in most orgs that you know, in your current company, or for those out there who might watch this later, who are wanting to get their first Salesforce role, the most orgs that exist right now are going to be using both of these things hand in hand. They're going to be using page layouts and Lightning record pages. So if something needs updated, you need to know which one do I go to, and how is that going to affect the other configuration. So on a page layout, that classic functionality, you are going to update the fields, the sections, how they're ordered. That's one of the main things a page layout does. On a Lightning record page, we have this details component, which is pulling up what you set on the page layout into this component. Does that make sense? So the fields, let's just go to a page layout so we can talk about this with a visual. There's a details section on a page layout when we configure it. It has the fields, it has the sections. There's a specific order to the fields. All of these fields that we set here in a page layout are going to be pulled into this details component. Okay, we see that details component over here in the side panel. Record
And
details.
does that mean that within this Lightning record page, you can't really edit any of those fields? You'd have to refer to the page layouts.
Yes
Is it
and no.
because Salesforce have not yet rolled out maybe an update to the Lightning record page to be able to serve that function?
Yeah, we can, but I'll get to that caveat in just a second. So with this panel, with this component, the record detail component that we see here, the fields are going to show up how we have them in the page layout. Okay, that's the baseline understanding we need here. And then the related list is going to show up how we have it set up in the page layout. Okay, so if we go back to a page layout, when we're configuring this, here are the related lists. We can remove them, we can add more lists here, and we can affect which fields we see on the related list. That is going to pull into this related list component on the Lightning record page. So if I click on this, you see that this is called a related list, and it's a component over here that I can pull onto the screen. These are by default on a Lightning record page, the details component and the related list component. But to answer your question, Emil, I can delete this, and I can delete this, and now they're gone, right? I could save the page, and now the page layout that we updated isn't feeding into this anymore, right? Because those two components are pulling in from the page layout.
Yeah.
Okay. And now what I can do is I can go to this fields tab, and I can use dynamic fields to bring in these sections and kind of order them just like I did on the page layout, but now I'm doing this dynamically on the Lightning record page. Okay, so
that begs the question: if you can do all this within this section, do you need page layouts?
That's a good question. I think that was one of the original questions that was asked 20 minutes ago, right? It was, Emil was saying all of the new functionality, every Salesforce does 3 releases a year where they're updating the software and they're adding to it new functionality, improving. Every new functionality that goes to one of these is to Lightning Record Page. It's not to page layouts.
Yep.
Those are dead in terms of being updated over the past
Okay.
5+ years. All of the functionality has been going towards Lightning Record Pages because this Lightning user interface is the way of the future as of 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Got it.
But I missed that. No, you're good. But it took time for Lightning Record Pages to get all of the functionality it needed to be able to replace page layouts.
Got it.
So this has been continuing to update over time. And even at the time that we're talking right now, it's not at a full parity yet, where there are some objects in some standard objects that don't totally support Lightning Record Pages.
Got it.
In all of its functionality. So in theory, 99% of the way there, you could use Lightning Record Pages instead. But most existing orgs need or are currently using both hand in hand. So to fully transition an org from using page layouts and Lightning Record Pages to only using Lightning Record Pages would be a pretty big process, because you got to think about all of the objects, all of the profiles, all of the record types, and create these Lightning Record Pages to be totally independent across all of those things.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, if I'm creating a new org, I could use Lightning Record Pages totally, mostly. Does that answer your question? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Right now, I like using them hand in hand because the page layout exists most of the time already. I can adjust the fields a little bit. If I'm coming here, I'm creating it from scratch again, right? I'm having to reorder everything. And I could accidentally pull lead source on twice. On the page layout, you can only have one of each field, and you have it grayed out where you see you've used it up in that top panel.
Yep.
Right. On the page layout, under the fields panel, we can see what we have used and what we haven't used. Here on Lightning Record Pages, you'd obviously fix it over time. Someone would notice it, but I could in theory have the same field in 2 spots. If I had another field section over here with some fields, and this is why they allow this, because you might want, a full details section and then like a highlights panel or something like that for a certain process. So I could have the amount in 2 different places. But in my mind, it just makes it a little bit harder to keep track of where everything is and do I have all of the right stuff. Maybe that's just because I'm used to coming from page layouts and Lightning Record Pages being a newer thing. But to answer the question, yes, Lightning Record Pages can basically do everything that a page layout can, and it's more dynamic. There's, as we've talked about, you have all the components. You can organize it in different ways. So this is the way of the future. Okay, so we have dynamic fields, which we've talked about now, and then we have dynamic visibility. Okay, so we have, let's get rid of this section here and pull the related lists back on.
And I'm not sure if you saw Isaac, but I think we lost Francis.
I did, yep.
Okay.
We'll keep on rolling. Yep. I'll try to connect with him after this. Okay. The fields that I've added here, I can click on. And then over here on the right side, we can set field visibility. So I can add filters and say, I only want to see the number of windows on this opportunity if the record type is window cleaning. Right?
Yep.
So I could say if this field type equals, and let's pretend that this says window cleaning and click done. Now this is only going to show up on the page for a user if the type of opportunity is window cleaning.
Got it.
So we can change field visibility based upon other fields or based upon the user. So again, I could go in here and I could say if the user, and then I could say country. I could say if they're in this country, I want this field to show. If they're from another country, I don't. I could say if their profile is a system admin, then they should be able to see this field. If not, then they shouldn't. So I can change the visibility of fields, and I can dynamically change the visibility of components. So let's say this path, for example. Maybe this path on opportunity is helpful for a sales rep, but it's not helpful for a case manager because they're looking at this opportunity after it's won. They don't need to know the stage because it's already won. It's just going to be in the way. I could say this path component is only visible for a certain profile. Okay, so I can do that for fields, individual fields. I can do it for sections. I can do it for components. So the answer of the original question, how's a Lightning record page more dynamic than a page layout? You can have components, you can reorganize the page, and you have dynamic fields and dynamic visibility. That's a long-winded way to say all of that, but hopefully that's making more sense there. Okay, let's talk about compact layouts really quick and search layouts. These are both pretty simple, so we should be done here in a second. Compact layout. Can anyone answer what a compact layout is?
Those key fields.
Key fields, right?
Yep.
So if we go back to an opportunity and we see the highlights panel at the top of the page, this is the highlights panel here. The key detail fields here are determined by the compact layout. So if we go to opportunity, we'll click on compact layouts. There's a system default here, and we can't change it, but we could clone it or create a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can choose the fields that we want to show up in this highlights panel.
Yeah.
This is helpful. Obviously, you can see stuff at a glance. It will help your users see what they need to quickly. But the other thing here is if you have people, I know we haven't talked about this much, if you have users using the mobile app, the Salesforce mobile app, so think about like service people out in the field. They're going from site to site. Or a sales rep who has a meeting at someone's office and they need to check something really quick in the mobile app. The mobile app has a lot less screen real estate, right? You're trying to pack in a lot of information on a small screen. So the way that you see it is a lot different. I'll just show an example here. If I go to the Lightning record page and then choose phone, we should see what that looks like. Or not. Here we go. Okay, so you can see here that I have some buttons across the top. I have the key details. I see the path, but then everything else is broken out into like this own section. So I'd have to click it with my thumb, tap it with my thumb to be able to open it up, and then it's going to take me to a different page. And then I can see all of the details. So that comes in a lot more handy which fields you're choosing here for the mobile app. Because when you open a record, you're just seeing those details, and that's all, unless you go further.
Yep.
Right, so I'd say it's even more impactful here to make sure you have the right fields for people out in the field. Okay, that's pretty simple. We're just choosing some fields that we want in the highlights panel. And then search layout. I think this is simple. What are search layouts for? It's for search. I'll answer that myself. But do they determine what fields are searchable? Either of you know the answer to that?
To determine if fields are searchable.
Like if I go to, I'll try to clarify my question. If I go to the global search bar and I want to search for an opportunity, and the account isn't on the search layout for the opportunity, but I type in the account name, will it return the search that I'm looking for?
I'm trying to recall that one. I'm
It's a
lost.
tough question.
Yeah.
So if I go to opportunity,
Okay.
and we look at a search layout, let's start there. So I'm going to go to the opportunity in the object manager. We see compact layouts there, fields, relationships, page layouts, all those things that we've talked about before. Another one is search layouts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a default layout. And if I try to edit it, I'll see some fields already selected, but I could add more fields here. I'll answer my own question. By adding these fields to the search layout, like lead source or type, I'm not adding more searchable fields.
Mm-hmm.
The search is going to search all of the fields that are searchable, all of the types of fields that can be found in Salesforce through search. I'm not selecting which things a user can search on. I'm choosing which things will show up when they do search. So I don't think that was clear how I said that. So let me show an example. If I do Andy Young here, the fields that show up are what I've chosen in the search layout. Okay, so let's pretend that phone wasn't one of these fields in the search layout, but I searched for this phone number. Andy's still going to show up.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to see that as one of the columns here when I run the search. Okay,
Yeah,
so search layout isn't search layout isn't determining what you can search. It's determining what you see on the search results page.
There we go. Okay, got it.
Okay. And I think that's all you need to know for this module. Just as a quick recap, do you guys have any questions, anything that was still confusing that maybe I can clean up now or next week when we get together?
Now, I even think the record types thing makes sense now. Once I thought about it, because you use like opportunity. All right, well, what kind of opportunity is it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's where the record type comes in. Yeah. So
Yep.
once I thought about it more, that makes sense now. So
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yep.
And we will talk about record types again, so we can kind of clear up why you would use it, and why you'd use it over a pick list in the future. But yeah, to speak to opportunity again, if we look at it from a different industry, let's talk about nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
You would have a opportunity record type for a one-time donation versus a recurring donation versus a grant.
Yep.
Right? All of those are opportunities that you're working on, but they might have different paths that you're using to close them out, and they might have a different set of fields that you need to see. So, yeah, I think this was a shorter module. Still good stuff to know. Next module will be about Sales Cloud specifically. So we'll dive into some more of those standard objects that come with Sales Cloud and the processes and functionality with it.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good?
Sounds good. Just one quick question.
Yep.
Obviously, with the when you're actually testing the page layouts, you have the mobile view and the desktop view. Does it have any impact on users having different screen resolutions? For instance, smaller laptops versus bigger laptops.
Lightning is very dynamic, so just like you would expect on a dynamic website, it's going to kind of shrink and pull with the resolution size. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't adjust the overall layout per se, like it does going from the desktop version to the mobile version. The only caveat there is there are 4 main types of devices that Salesforce will adjust the page for.
Right.
So we have the desktop, we have phone, we have tablet, portrait, and landscape. So in the browser that the person is using will tell Salesforce what type of device this is, and then Salesforce will use one of these 4 layouts depending upon that.
Yes. Perfect.
All right.
Awesome.
To answer, I'll go a step further, and then we'll be done to answer the question, Emil. We didn't talk about this yet, but if I go to my profile up here in the top right, I can go from comfy to compact. So if I'm on a small screen and I'm frustrated with the amount of detail that I'm seeing because I keep having to scroll or move around and stuff, I can change to, well, that's not good. I messed up. I changed the Lightning record page. Let's go to an account. Okay, so we have more details here. If we go from compact or comfy to compact, it's going to remove some of the spacing. And I can squeeze more detail into the space that I see on my screen.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a lot tighter now, and I see this all on one page rather than having to scroll.
Yep.
So that's, as you're thinking about resolution and screen size and stuff, that's something that your users can adjust for themselves in their personal settings.
Good to know.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for answering the questions. Hopefully this was beneficial, and I'll plan on seeing you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this session. Make sure to check out the playlist for the next video in the series. If you want to check out my comprehensive course, click the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe for more Salesforce content to help you on your Salesforce journey. And please like the video because that helps me out. See you in the next one.